Hello everybody. In today's session, we see the parallel RL and RC circuit combinations applied to a AC source. First we see this RL circuit. Here on this screen you are seeing a parallel combination of a resistor and inductor connected to a voltage source of a RMS value of V volts. Now this parallel combination here will have a common voltage of V volts applied across each element. That is, the voltage across the resistor is V volts and the voltage across the inductor is also V volts. This V is the RMS value of the source, which has a maximum value of V max. Now this voltage applied across the resistor gives us a current of IR equals to V upon R as per the Ohm's law, and the current through the inductance is given by IL is equals to V upon JXL, where this XL has a unit of ohm, and this expression IL is equal to V by XL also gives us the same Ohm's law. Now the XL what we have here, it is due to the inductance of the circuit, therefore I call it as the inductive reactance. Now the J stands for this inductive reactance because the reactance will be on the vertical axis in the impedance triangle. Now if you apply the Kirchhoff's current law at the junction what you see here, okay, that is the node where I am connecting the voltage source, resistor and the inductor, all three elements are connected together. So this is a common node and the reference node is the bottom node. Actually this network we can also call it as a a single node pair network. Single node pair means there will be two nodes, one of the node will be a common node. So that is or the reference node also we can call. Therefore this circuit is a single node pair network wherein I am connecting a voltage source, resistor and the inductor, all three in parallel. So this parallel combination will have a common voltage and the current given by the voltage source is getting divided into two currents, the current through the resistor IR and current through the inductor IL. Now the analysis of the circuit can be done based upon the phasor diagram. Okay, for this phasor diagram we need to take a common parameter as a reference. Since the resistor and inductor have the common parameter, the voltage, I can write down the voltage as a reference. See the total current, if you see here, it is sum of IR and IL. So IR is V by R and IL is V by J omega L. Therefore taking out V common, I can write it as 1 upon R plus 1 upon J omega L. So where I can write this term within the brackets, that is 1 by R plus 1 upon J omega L as the letter Y. Y represents the admittance of the circuit. It admittance, it is the combined effect of resistance and inductive reactance. Okay, it is reciprocal of the impedance we can also call. Okay, admittance is the reciprocal of the impedance. Fine. In a RL circuit the admittance is given by like this, 1 upon R plus 1 upon J omega L. See this can also be written as 1 upon R minus J 1 upon omega L, that is taking this J to the numerator I need to change the sign here. Okay, so the real part Y is called here conductance, it is the reciprocal of the resistance, and imaginary part, that is the term where J is there, it is called as an imaginary part, it is called as susceptance. Now this susceptance for the case of RL circuit is because of inductance, therefore this B what it represents, the susceptance, I can call it as inductive susceptance or the susceptance due to inductance. Now here I just given the first line, if you see the total current, it has now two components, that is the current to the resistor and current to the inductor, and the voltage across these two elements which are in parallel, it is same, therefore the term V is common in this expression. Now if I see the admittance here, Y is equal to G plus JB, so this is also a complex number. So when the impedance is R plus Z is equal to R plus JXL, that is a complex number. Admittance Y is equal to G plus JB, that is also a complex number. So conductance G is 1 by R and susceptance is minus 1 by XL. Okay, B is equal to minus 1 by XL in the case of inductance. So the current I is equals to V into Y. Now this current will lag behind the voltage by an angle of theta, which is given by tan inverse of imaginary component 1 upon XL divided by the real component of the admittance 1 by R. This comes down to tan inverse minus R upon omega L. Okay. Now, if you see the same angle for the impedance, I could have written it as theta is equals to tan inverse omega L by R in the case of series circuit. But in the case of parallel circuit, the angle will change now because of the parallel combination. Okay. And here parallel combination means I will be taking, instead of XL I will be taking susceptance B. So, instead of resistance I will be taking conductance. Because of the reciprocal nature, the angle here will become tan inverse minus R by omega L. Okay. Now, I will just try to explain the phasor diagram what I have drawn. Here, since the parallel combination, the voltage is a common quantity across R and L elements, I have taken voltage along the reference axis. This you can see on the phasor diagram what I have shown in the slide. Okay. See, this voltage is along the reference axis, fine. The current, if you draw for a resistor, the current and the voltage will be in phase with each other. That is what we saw there in the previous sessions. So, therefore, the current IR will be in phase with the voltage, and in the inductor we saw that the current, in a pure inductor we saw that the current lags behind the voltage by 90 degrees. Therefore, the voltage as a with reference quantity, the current I have written along the negative imaginary axis because it has to lag behind the voltage by 90. So, if I take this current IR and current IL, these two are vector quantities. So, to find out the resultant current, I am adding these two current vectorially. Therefore, by completing the parallelogram, the diagonal what you have, that will give you the total current given by the source into the parallel circuit. So, the current here, it is lagging behind the voltage by an angle of theta. Okay. It is very simple to analyze this. So, to find out the current VR, I need to divide the voltage by resistance value. To find out the current IL, I need to divide the voltage by the inductive reactance value. Because the inductive current is lagging behind the voltage by 90 degrees, I should write the current IL is equals to IL magnitude at an angle of minus 90 degrees. So, if I write the current here, I can write down in a parallel combination, the current through the inductor will have a magnitude of IL and lags behind the voltage, the reference vector, by 90 degrees. Similarly, the current IR will be in phase with the voltage, therefore, I write IR the magnitude and the angle of 0 degrees. So, adding these two, I will be getting the total current I is equals to IR plus IL. So, this is IR, I can write minus J IXL or IL. So, this will give you the total current. So, the total current will have a magnitude of IR square plus IL square and angle of theta is equals to minus tan inverse of IL divided by IR. Like this also we can write down the phase angle expression between that is the equation for the phase angle between the supply voltage and the total current IR. Now, if I write IL is equals to V by XL and IR is equal to V by R, I will be getting the same expression for theta what I have shown in the previous slide. So, similarly, when I consider a parallel RC circuit, see, in the case of a previous circuit what I have given RL circuit, I can treat that combination as a pure inductor and a pure resistor in parallel, because the impure inductor will not have a resistance in parallel, whereas here in RC circuit I can treat this RC circuit as a parallel combination of a resistor, pure resistor and a pure capacitor. Otherwise, we can say an impure capacitor can be represented by a parallel combination of R and C, where R is the resistance of the capacitor, C is the capacitance. Okay. So, this is what we have a parallel combination. Now, in this case, if V is the RMS value of the voltage, I have here V is the RMS value of the source voltage. Okay. This is what we have, V is the RMS value of the source voltage. Here also again the resistor and capacitor are connected across two nodes. So, taking the bottom node as a reference node, I have a node here where the voltage will be the voltage of the source. So this voltage with respect to the reference node is applied across the resistor and also across the capacitor. That is the reason why I write here the current in the resistor IR is equals to V divided by the resistance value, and the current in the capacitor IC is equals to V upon minus JXC. Now remember, in the case of inductive circuit, I have taken the current in the inductor as IL divided by IL is equal to V divided by JXL. Okay, here I am taking minus JXC. So when you take this minus JXC, it is the capacitive reactance of the capacitor. Okay, that is why the capacitive reactance is always negative, therefore the minus J comes in the denominator. Okay, then if I substitute the value of XC is equal to 1 over omega C, we can see here V IC is equal to V times J omega C. The minus J what you have goes to numerator, okay, and becomes plus J. So here when see IR, the current in the resistor is inversely proportional to the resistance value, whereas current in the capacitor for a given voltage is directly proportional to the capacitance with frequency of the voltage remaining constant. The total current here also can be obtained by applying Kirchhoff's voltage current law here, IR, where as per the law I have the incoming current is equals to sum of the outgoing currents, where I is equal to IR plus IC. So taking that equation here, I is equal to IR plus IC, which is equals to V by R. I just substituted for IR and IC. So IR is equal to V by R and IC is equal to V upon V J omega C. That is this expression. So taking the voltage as common, I write 1 by R plus J omega C. And this 1 by R plus J omega C, in the case of parallel RC circuit, I call it as admittance. Okay. Now here also the admittance will be a complex number. It will have two parts. Okay, real part is called conductance, which is the reciprocal of resistance, and imaginary part we call it as a susceptance. In the case of RC network, the susceptance is because of the capacitance, therefore I write it as 1 by XC, XC is equal to 1 over omega C, therefore the susceptance becomes 1 upon omega C, so which gives you B is equal to omega C. Now here in this case, the current, because of the capacitance is present in the circuit, the current will lead the voltage by an angle of theta. Theta is given by tan inverse B by G. See here, when you draw the phasor diagram for this, again I will be taking the voltage as reference quantity. Okay. Now as per this equation for the phase angle, theta is equals to tan inverse omega CR. So it angle also depends upon R and also depends upon C here. Now in case of this capacitance circuit, or in case of RL circuit also, whichever may be, okay, in case of RL circuit what happens is a phasor diagram what I have shown will be on the fourth quadrant, okay, and there won't be any difference in compared to the current in the resistor in the case of RL circuit, current in the case of RC circuit if the R is constant, okay, R is same in the both the circuits. Now the V is a reference here because it is a parallel combination. So in drawing the phasor diagram, I should take the reference vector as the common parameter for the circuit. So the common parameter is V because the voltage applied across the parallel combination of R and C is same for both the elements. Therefore, taking V as reference, I am writing down the current vector IR, which is in phase with the voltage, and the current in the capacitor will be leading the voltage by 90 degrees. Okay, this is, I am treating these two elements as independent elements and they are pure. Okay, so for a pure resistor, current will be in phase with the voltage, and for a pure capacitor, current will be leading the voltage by 90 degrees. Okay, now the presence of resistor in the circuit, it will not allow, okay, the current to lead the voltage by 90. And presence of capacitor will not allow the total current to be along the voltage axis. That means both the elements, resistor as well as the capacitor, will dominate. Okay, both will dominate, but that means the presence, see, one cannot dominate the other when you have the values of these two as equal. Equal in the sense their effects are same, almost similar effects are there. Okay, similar magnitude you can say. Now if I say IC and IR are equal magnitude wise, then this theta will be 45 degrees. If say the capacitance value will be such that the capacitive reactance what I have Xc is smaller than the resistor R, then capacitive susceptance what you have B 1 by omega C, or sorry 1 upon omega C, that is omega C will dominate. So the current will be closer to this vertical axis. That means among this R and C, depending upon the dominance, either the current I will be closer to the vertical axis or closer to the voltage axis. If the resistance is more dominating, then the current will bend toward the voltage axis. If the capacitance is dominating, okay, IC magnitude will be more, therefore the total current will be leaning towards IC. So this is what the combined effect of resistance and inductive reactance or capacitive reactance, say how they work in the AC circuits. Both will dominate, okay, but both will dominate in the sense one has to be smaller than the other. Okay, normally if you talk about a perfect capacitor, the perfect capacitor will have a zero resistance, okay, but normally it is very difficult to have a perfect capacitor, therefore there will be some value of resistance. So that means resistance is smaller compared to the capacitance effect. So therefore the current in the case of RC circuit where the resistance is not dominating the capacitance value, the current will be closer to the vertical axis. So theta will be almost close to the 90 degrees. So that circuits, the power factor will be very close to 0, okay. When the theta is greater than, say, if it is 45 degrees, I will be getting a power factor of cos 45 is equal to 0.707. If theta goes above 45, the value of the cosine decreases, and if theta becomes lesser than 0.707, that is 45 degrees, the cos value will increase, okay. So I will take now the combination of three elements, resistor, inductor and capacitor, connected in series to a voltage source of say voltage source of magnitude Vm maximum value and a RMS value of V volts. Now this is the combination of resistor, inductor, capacitor. I just represented the resistance as a box. We can also show that the general symbol for the resistor. It doesn't matter, okay. Just consider this as a resistor, okay. Resistor, inductor, capacitor. Now here the current given by the voltage source is represented by arrow, and the current which is entering, that is coming out of the voltage source, is represented by I, okay. This V is also can be the potential direction of the source. So this tip will represent a higher potential point, the tail will represent a lower potential point. So the current given by this active source should come out of the positive terminal, okay, and enter back to the source through the negative terminal. So in that direction only I just mark this current. You can see if this is the positive terminal, the current what is given into the circuit is coming out of the positive terminal. Now this current which passing through the resistor will give us a voltage drop of VR. VR is the RMS value of the voltage across the resistor. Now this current I, when enters into the resistor, it will flow through the resistor from the point of higher potential represented by plus and from to the negative terminal or the lower potential point. Now see the difference between the voltage source in the resistor. You might have studied this in the case of a DC circuits. Here all active sources, the current given by the source will come out of the positive terminal, whereas in a passive element the current will enter into the positive terminal and comes out of the negative terminal, or higher potential point is positive, lower potential point is negative. So in the case of passive elements, the current flow will be always from higher potential to lower potential. So because when I am moving from higher potential to lower potential, there is a decrease in the potential. That is why we say VR, the voltage across the resistor, which is equal to I into R as the potential drop. Now the same current after coming out of the resistor, it is flowing through the inductor. The frequency of the voltage source omega is equal to 2 pi f, where f is the frequency, omega is the angular frequency, f is measured in cycles or hertz, and this omega is measured in radians per second. So okay, this omega will, along with this L, will oppose the flow of the current through the inductor by providing an inductive reactance of omega L. The unit of inductive reactance will also be ohms. Therefore the current I into omega L will give you the voltage drop across the inductor, where I is the RMS value, omega L is the inductive reactance. So VL is the RMS value of the voltage drop. So for an inductor, VL is equals to omega L multiplied by I. Now I will come to the directions of this voltage drops later. Okay. Now here, after passing through the current, coming out of the inductance, the same current which is already passed through resistor and inductor will flow through the capacitor. Now here capacitance value is C. Now this flow of current through the capacitor will be opposed by the capacitive reactance of 1 over omega C, where omega is the same value 2 pi f. Okay. So now if you see here, again for the capacitor also, this is a higher potential point, a lower potential point. Therefore, as the current flows to the capacitor, there is a voltage drop of Vc is equals to I times 1 over omega C. I am not telling anything about the direction of the voltage drop with respect to the reference direction. I am just expressing only the magnitudes. Now if you see the equation here, I have just applied Kirchhoff's voltage law here. Okay. So sum of these drops should be equal to potential rise in a closed loop as per the voltage law. So that will give us the total voltage is equals to VR plus VL plus VC. This is equals to I times R, that is the drop across the resistor, plus I times XL, the magnitude of the voltage drop across the inductor, plus I times XC, the magnitude of the voltage drop across the capacitor. Now if you see this equation, I introduced one term J here and minus J in the last two terms. Now here the J stands for the direction of the voltage VL with respect to the common parameter I. Okay. And here minus J again gives us the direction of voltage Vc with respect to the reference parameter I. So since all three elements are connected in series, they have a common current, but the voltage drops are different. Okay. So if that you can make out from this equation, VR is equal to IR, VL is equal to IXL, VC is equal to IXC. So therefore I am taking the current as a common. So taking current as common, in case of VR, the voltage drop VR will be in phase with the current, and voltage drop of VL in case of this circuit will be lagging behind the current by 90 degrees. Okay, because it is an RL circuit, the voltage lags behind the current by 90 degrees. In the case of say current lags behind the voltage by 90, because I am taking the current as a reference, I say VL will now lead the current by 90. That is why I put J here. The J stands for magnitude of 1 angle of 90 degrees. Okay. The minus J stands for angle of 1 and magnitude of 1 and angle of 90. So IXC as per this minus J with respect to the current, it will be lagging behind the current by 90. Now combining, that is as I is common between the three parameters here, three terms here, I take I as a common, then the term inside the brackets, what you have, it will have purely the dimension of ohms. Okay. This complete parameter will be opposing the current flow in the circuit due to the voltage of V. Okay. When I apply voltage, this parameter is responsible for the combined opposition offered by this RLC connected in series. So this also a complex number. You can see there is a real part and there is an imaginary part. So since it is a combination of R and XL XC, I call this as Z, the impedance. Okay, impedance of series RLC circuit, because all three parameters are there. So Z is a complex impedance of the circuit given by this expression. And if I write this expression in terms of angular frequency omega, inductance value and the capacitance value, I will be substituting for XL omega L, XC 1 over omega C, I will be getting this. So magnitude of the impedance is square root of R square plus omega L minus 1 by omega C square, and angle of the impedance is omega L minus 1 by omega C divided by R. You can see here the magnitude of the impedance is a function of frequency, inductance and capacitance. Of course, it also depends on the value of R. Okay. So for a constant value of R, the impedance depends upon the frequency, inductance value and capacitance also. Similarly, the angle also depends upon the frequency L, C and R. Out of these three parameters, that is R, omega and omega, L and C, any one parameter can be variable. Suppose say the impedance, the frequency is varying. So as you vary the frequency, omega L will vary because inductance is constant, omega C will vary because C is constant, 1 by omega C also varies. So therefore this term, what you have, the reactance term, that is XL minus XC, that will vary, therefore the impedance magnitude vary. When the reactance term XL minus XC is varying, okay, omega L minus 1 by omega C is varying, in the expression for the angle, that numerator what you have here, omega L minus 1 by omega C in the tan inverse, that increases, therefore the value of theta also increases. That means the theta and magnitude of the impedance both are functions of omega for given value of R, L and C. Suppose if along with the R I keep omega also as constant, then I can vary the impedance of the circuit to get different values of the current by varying either inductance or by capacitance. Suppose if I have given all three elements, that is resistor, omega, L, C, all are constants, then the magnitude of the impedance now depends upon the value of omega L or 1 by omega C. Whichever is larger, okay, the effect of that, the dominance of that will be there on the circuit. If omega L is larger than 1 by omega C, what I get the term under the square root here, the second term will be positive, okay, will be positive, therefore I will be getting a value of an impedance, okay. If omega L is less than 1 by omega C, then what happens, this capacitance will be dominating. I will be getting a term inside the say brackets what you have here, that has a negative. Since I am squaring it, I will be getting it as again a positive value, therefore the impedance magnitude is always positive, okay. Magnitude in the case of impedance cannot be negative because I am applying Pythagoras theorem to get the value of the impedance. Whereas the tan, the angle what you have here, it depends upon the sign of the numerator term, okay. If omega L is larger than 1 by omega C, angle will be positive in the case of impedance. If 1 by omega C is larger than omega L, I get the angle theta as a negative because this second term is dominating the first term. I will be getting a value of tan inverse minus of something divided by R, therefore the angle will be negative. That means the impedance with a positive magnitude will have an angle of negative value in the case of capacitance domination. Now taking the voltage as reference, applied voltage, I will write I is equal to, this is the RMS value of the current, okay, it is a vector, that is why I represented it as a bold letter. This is magnitude of the current, I have not bolded this, okay, I at an angle of phi. I will be given by magnitude of V divided by magnitude of Z, that is what I have written here, okay. In a vector form, I will be I at an angle of phi, okay, where the magnitude of I will be given by V upon Z. Here also I bolded these two letters which represents V by Z, both V as well as the impedance Z are complex numbers, okay, they are vectors. Therefore, in the when I take the magnitude of the current, I just see I have written V here, this is not bolded, or we can say this is with respect to the voltage as reference, therefore the voltage V has a magnitude of V volts and an angle of 0 degrees. Now this when I divide with the magnitude of the impedance, which is a complex number which has a magnitude of R square plus omega L minus 1 by omega C whole square, angle of this impedance will be positive in the denominator. When I write the same angle in the numerator, it becomes minus tan inverse omega L minus 1 by omega C divided by R, okay. So this expression will give you the current in the RLC circuit. This expression actually, it is, of course, it does not say which parameter is dominating the current, okay. So based on the values or the magnitude of omega L and 1 by omega C, the angle will be positive or negative, but there won't be any change in the magnitude, okay. Whatever it is dominating, the current value will remain same. So here I have given three different cases for the series RLC circuit. I just explained this based on the phasor diagram what I have drawn for the series RLC circuit. Now, in the previous slide, I gave you an expression for the current taking the voltage as a reference, but actually in the series RLC circuit, because the current is a common parameter, I need to take the current as a reference. Okay, see the horizontal line is current for me. I have a resistor, okay, which is carrying a current of IR. So for a pure resistor, the current and the voltage drop VR both will be in phase with each other. Okay, so therefore I have written the voltage vector, voltage drop vector across the resistor in phase with the voltage. You can see here both are coinciding, that is VR is coinciding with the reference line. So this means that the voltage VR is in phase with the current. Now coming to that inductive voltage, depending on the magnitude of the inductive reactance and the capacitive reactance, we can get the first condition, where here I have taken omega L, that is the frequency value is such that for a given value of inductance, omega L is larger than 1 by omega C, or omega L is greater than 1 by omega C. What do you mean by that? Inductive reactance is greater than capacitive reactance. Okay, the phase angle of the current will be negative. Okay, because when omega L is greater than 1 by omega C, when you take the previous slide, here I will be getting the term here as a positive term. Okay, this omega L is greater than 1 by omega C. So this is positive. Whether this is positive or negative, it doesn't matter. I have to see the sign here only. When omega L is greater than 1 by omega C, this term is positive. Therefore, I will be getting tan inverse a positive value divided by R. So tan inverse of that will be positive, but the angle will be negative because of this minus sign here. Okay. So that is, in this condition, the current is lagging behind. What happens when you have omega L greater than 1 by omega C? If I multiply both sides of this expression by the same current I, okay, which is a common parameter for inductor and capacitor, I will be getting I omega L greater than I by omega C, or I into 1 by omega C. So I omega L will give you the voltage I into XL, that is VL, and I into 1 over omega C will give you the voltage across the capacitor. Because omega L is larger than 1 by omega C, the voltage VL will be larger than VC. So that is what I have represented here. VL is length having a larger length and VC have a shorter length here. Okay, because I have taken the current as reference, the voltage across the inductor, it is leading the current by 90 degrees, and the voltage across the capacitor lagging behind the current by 90. Okay. Now out of these two magnitudes, VL has a larger magnitude than VC. Therefore, their difference what you have will be a positive one, for it will be along the VL axis. So that is why you can see when both are positive here, VR and VL, say VR and VL plus VC both are positive, I get these V volts as the total voltage applied across it. Now if I take the current as a reference, I have in the drawing the phasor diagram, I have taken the current as a reference. So with respect to the current, the total voltage V, it is leading by theta. The same thing if I express with respect to voltage as reference, the current is lagging behind the voltage by an angle theta. Therefore, I can say when omega L is greater than 1 by omega C, inductance dominates the capacitance and the circuit behaves like a RL circuit in which the current is lagging behind the voltage by an angle of theta. The second condition is when omega L is less than 1 by omega C. Again what I do, I multiply both the sides with the current as a common parameter. I get I omega L less than I by omega C. I omega L will be I into XL, which is VL. I by omega C is equal to I into XC, which is VC. So VL is smaller than VC now. Therefore, the voltage VL will have a smaller length but still leading the current by 90 degrees because this is the drop across the inductor. The same current flowing through the capacitor is giving us a VC, the voltage across the capacitor, which is larger because of this condition. Okay, Therefore, the net voltage across the inductance and capacitance combination will be Vc plus Vl, or it will be negative because it is along the negative vertical axis or the imaginary axis. Okay. So, Vc minus Vl is negative, but still Vr is along the current reference only. So, adding these two voltages Vr and VCVL, I will be getting a magnitude of V volts, but you see here the current, it is leading the voltage by theta, okay, or you can say the current, the voltage is lagging behind the current by theta, either way it is same. Now generally when you draw the phasor diagrams, I take the common parameter as a reference, but here in the RLC circuit this current is caused by the voltage, okay. Therefore, I need to express this phasor relationship between voltage and current with respect to the reference parameter, that is the voltage here, okay. In drawing them I am writing down the current as a reference, but when I try to express the current and voltage relationship in the RLC circuit or in fact any circuit, okay, I should take the voltage as a reference. So taking this voltage as reference, you can see the current in the RLC circuit in case of this condition, that is omega L less than 1 by omega C, it is leading the reference voltage, okay, voltage. Therefore, the circuit behaves like a capacitive circuit. That means the inductance effect what you have, it is dominated by the capacitance effect. Therefore, the circuit behaves like a RC circuit. The last condition what I have for this RLC circuit is like this: when omega L is equal to 1 by omega C. What do you mean by that? The frequency value is such that for a given value of inductance and capacitance, inductive reactance is equal to the capacitive reactance. If I multiply both the sides by the current, I get I into omega L, which is the voltage across the inductor, is equals to I multiplied by 1 by omega C, which is the voltage across the capacitor. So I have voltage across the inductor VL is equal to voltage across the capacitor. So one is positive, the other one is negative. So the net voltage what you have is VL plus VC, VL VC is negative. So I will be getting VL minus VC is equal to 0. Okay. That means the phase angle in the current, the phase angle of the current is in phase with the voltage, that is the current is in phase in the voltage. The circuit behaves as a purely resistive circuit, and under this condition the circuit is said to be at resonance. Okay. This happens only under this condition. That means the complete inductive effect what you have in the network because of the inductance is cancelled or neutralized by the capacitance present in the network. So if you see the waveform phasor diagram, now for that condition what I have shown, VL is equal to 1 by omega C, I have this length of VL and length of VC both are equal. So because they are in the opposite direction, their difference is 0. So it appears that all the voltage what all I have given to the RLC circuit is just equal to VR. Okay. It does not mean that the inductor and the capacitors are not carrying any voltage. They are carrying the voltages. There will be voltage drops across them, but those two are equal and opposite, therefore they are neutralized. Okay. So since that, then because I have total voltage is equal to VR and VR is in phase with the current, I say the current is also in phase with the voltage. Therefore, that current in phase with the voltage can happen only in the resistive circuits. That is why we say RLC series circuit in case of omega L is equal to 1 by omega C behaves like a pure resistive circuit, and the circuit is said to be under resonance. Now coming to this parallel RLC circuit, the same thing will happen in the case of RLC circuit also, but I have to consider a different parameter as a common parameter here. Now these elements are no more connected in series, they are connected in parallel. So in this case of series connection, I have applied Kirchhoff's voltage law, and in this case of parallel connection, I will be applying Kirchhoff's current law. Now here I have shown you a parallel combination of resistor, inductor and capacitor. Okay. I have three currents, IR, IL and IC. These three elements are connected between two nodes. Okay. This node, both are same nodes as there is no element between these two. Okay. So compared to this voltage will be at reference or 0, Therefore, I have the voltage at this point as the source voltage V. Now, since the elements are in parallel, this voltage at the node is giving us a current of IR, V divided by R. The inductance is also connected between these two nodes. Okay. So, the same voltage will give us a current of IL, which is equals to V upon omega L in the inductor, or I can also write omega L is equal to XL. Okay. And the capacitor is also connected across the same two terminals. Therefore, its voltage is also same as V volts. Then the capacitive current or IC is equals to V upon XC in magnitude. Okay. So, this minus J again represents the direction of the current in the capacitor with respect to the reference parameter V. Okay. Now, this current IR plus IL plus IC is equal to the current given by the source. So, this is as per Kirchhoff's current law here applied at this node. Sum of the incoming currents is equal to outgoing current. There is only one incoming current, therefore, I should be equals to sum of the outgoing currents IR plus IL plus IC. This is what I apply for parallel circuit. So, I have written here IR plus IL plus IC is equal to the total current. So, I now replace each current by their individual expressions. V by R is the current in resistor, V by XL is the current in the inductor, V by XC is the current in the capacitor, plus J and minus J represents the current directions. Okay. It says they are vectors. Okay. Now, V by 1 by R I can write it as a conductance, 1 by J XL I can write it as minus J into YL. This YL is the admittance. Okay. Or you can also write here BL also you can write, okay, because 1 by X is equal to B, right. 1 by X reciprocal of the inductive reactance is equals to inductive susceptance BL. So, you can also write instead of YL you can also write BL. Similarly, instead of YC you can write BC. That B stands for susceptance and the suffix C says it is due to the capacitance. Now, combining this V, all the three terms, taking V as a common parameter, I have V multiplied by G plus J YC minus YL. Okay. So, the total term what you have within the brackets I call it as admittance Y for the parallel RLC network. Now, this I have given a small diagram here which is a phasor diagram. You can see as it is a parallel circuit, the voltage parameter is a common parameter. Therefore, along the reference I have drawn the voltage axis. Horizontal axis always should be reference. So, I have drawn along this. Now, the current in the resistor will be in phase with the voltage. Therefore, IR and the voltage has a phase angle relation of 0 degrees here. Okay. And the current in the inductor will be lagging behind the voltage by 90 degrees. Therefore, I have drawn the current vector along the negative vertical axis saying that it is lagging behind this minus J what we have in this expression represent that. So, I have IL here, and similarly V by XC will give you, or V into YC will give you the current in the capacitor. So, that capacitor because of the J sign here will lead the voltage by 90. Now, in this case on this phasor diagram I have represented IC of a smaller length compared to IL. Therefore, here what happens is the inductive susceptance is dominating the capacitive susceptance. That happens only when 1 by XL will have a larger value compared to 1 by XC. That means XL is smaller than XC. Okay. So, in this case the circuit, it is, you can see the current, total current what you have in the network, okay, it is lagging behind the voltage by an angle of theta. Therefore, the circuit behaves like an RL parallel circuit. Similarly, here, okay, the same of course phasor diagram I have given you the expression for the admittance. Admittance is also a function of frequency. When I write this YC and YL instead of BC and BL also I can write that I told you. Here I have written just as YC, but it can be BC also. Okay. So, I just write it down here, BC is equals to 1 by XL, XL is omega L. Therefore, BL what you have, it is inversely proportional to the frequency. When I write XL is equal to 1 by omega L, I also have BL is equals to 1 over omega L. So, keeping one of the parameters either omega constant or L constant, I can vary the inductive susceptance. Similarly, when you write the capacitive susceptance, BC will be equals to 1 by XC, or XC is equals to 1 over omega C. Okay. So, my BC value will be omega C. The capacitive susceptance is directly proportional to the frequency, or given a frequency constant, it is directly proportional to the capacitance value. Okay. This case also you have this susceptance and this admittance, they are all functions of frequency omega for a given value of R, L and C. So, this ends here the third part of the series AC circuit, single phase AC circuits. Now, I will try to go to do some problems, basic problems. On single phase AC circuits, I will be doing some problems. Now, if I take the problem 1, the first problem, it is a coil of, this is about generation of voltage and calculating of the parameters about the frequency, time period, the maximum value and the instantaneous value of the voltage induced in the coil. Okay. I will be doing the problems say according to the theory what I covered. So, first I will be doing the problems on the basics, that is generation of voltage and all, and afterwards I will be taking the sinusoidal waveforms and then evaluating the RMS value, average value, peak factor, form factor, and then I will go to the behavior of RL, RC circuits, and then I will go to series combination of RLC, then I will do the problems on parallel circuits, and after doing the problems on parallel circuits, I will come to the problems on series parallel and parallel series circuits. I am referring the old question papers of VTU, and along with that I will be selecting problems from the reference textbooks. Now, here it is a problem from the reference textbook. Okay. A coil of 100 turns is rotated at 1500 revolutions per minute in a magnetic field having a uniform density. Density in the sense it is a flux density here of 0.05 Tesla. This T stands for Tesla. You can also write this as Webers per meter square. The axis of rotation being at right angles to the direction of the flux. The mean area per turn is 40 centimeter square. Calculate the frequency, the period, okay, that is the time taken to complete one cycle, and the frequency is how many cycles it will do in one revolution, okay, and the maximum value of the generated EMF and the value of the generated EMF when the coil has rotated through 30 degrees from the position of 0 EMF, okay, 0 EMF. So, in this I have to calculate the 4 different points. One is the frequency, the other one is the period, the third one is the maximum value of the generated EMF, fourth one is the instantaneous value. I will just concentrate on the first one. Now, as per the data given in the problem, the EMF generated in the coil is undergoing one cycle of variation. It will undergo one cycle of variation when the coil rotates through one revolution. Okay. Now, how many revolution it is doing in 1 second, that you have to see to find out the frequency. Okay. Number of cycles covered in 1 second, that is the frequency of the generated voltage. Now, to do this I have to go to the speed of the, okay, here you see 1000 revolutions per minute it is doing. That means in a time of 60 seconds it is undergoing 1500 revolutions. How many revolutions it completes in 1 second, that is the frequency. So, therefore, I just divide the 1500 by 60. So, I will be getting a frequency is equal to number of cycles per second, number of, that is number of revolutions per second it is, per minute it is doing 1500, therefore, per second it will be doing 1500 divided by 60. So, that gives us 25 hertz, that is the frequency. That means it will be doing 25 cycles per second, that is, okay, in 1 second it is covering around 25 cycles. So, one cycle is a set of positive values and a set of negative values. Now if come to the next point, that is the period, it is called as a time for one cycle. Now when you have in a cycle, in a time of 1 second, the EMF is covering 25 cycles, in time for one cycle will be reciprocal of 25. So that gives you the time period or the period of the voltage waveform. So that period will be 1 upon 25, which gives us 0.04 seconds. Okay. So time period is 0.04 seconds, reciprocal of frequency. Now the maximum value of the generated EMF, it is given by 2 pi B A N and T. I just try to tell you all these values. B is the maximum flux density of the magnetic field or the flux density of the magnetic field. A, what you have the next term, it is the area, cross sectional area of the coil. This can be calculated when the two sides of the coil is given, length as well as the width. Area is equal to product of length of the coil and width of the coil. And N, it is the speed in revolutions per second at which the coil is rotating, and this T is the total number of turns. Okay. Now normally the flux density, it is given in Tesla, can also be given in Webers per meter square. So the dimension of the voltage what you have here, it should be in volts. So therefore you need to substitute the values in this expression in such a way that I should get the dimension of the voltage as volts only. Okay. Therefore you see here I have 2 pi B Webers per meter square. A should also be in meter square. Okay. So that I will be getting Webers per meter square multiplied by meter square. So the meters cancels. Fine. Then I have total number of turns. N is the number of revolutions per second. Okay. So I need to substitute the value of these parameters in this equation such that the dimension of this equation will come to be volts only. Therefore here I just represented it as 0.05, the value of the flux density B, then area. You see, if you see the problem, the area what is given, it is 40 centimeter square. Okay, 40 centimeter square divided by 1000, because 1 centimeter 1 meter will have 100 centimeters. I will be getting the area of the coil as 0.004. Okay, that multiplied by the number of turns as 100, and the speed with which the coil is rotating is 1500 divided by 60. While substituting, I just reverse these terms. This should be the capital T and this should be the N. Okay, I should have written in the other direction. This is first, then next. Okay, so kindly bear with me. This is 1500 divided by 60 will give you the speed, and T is equals to 100 total turns. It will give you 3.14 volts. Okay. Now this is the maximum value of the voltage induced. Now if you try to calculate the expression for the instantaneous voltage, when you have the coil rotated by an angle of theta, the instantaneous value E of t is equals to Em sin omega t, or sin theta I will write. Okay. The maximum value what I have is 3.14, okay, 3.14 volts sin theta. Now given any angular position of the coil, okay, if I substitute the value of angle, I will be getting here the value of the instantaneous voltage. Now you see here in the problem it is given that theta is equal to 30 degrees, therefore sin 30 will be 0.5, and when I multiply 3.14 by 0.5 at time of t, at a time t when the angle is 30 degrees, the instantaneous value of the voltage will come down to be half of this, that is 1.57 volts. Okay. Like this we can evaluate the instantaneous value, the maximum value, frequency and the period of generated voltage. Next session we will do some more problems about this topic, and we also cover the problems in the other topics. Thank you.